stuff going on. So thank you two for picking up. And John, do you want to start introductions? John is not on the board, but he's our trusted advisor.
I'm John Newman. I'm the attorney that is hired by the city of Wichita to advise the board, and I've kind of stepped into the role of investigator of complaints while we're looking for a full-time investigator. I've filled that role for the last year or so.
And you're with what firm?
I came in and
I'm Kathy Sexton. I'm on contract with WSU with the Public Policy Management Center because I think after Wichita City Council adopted a brand new ethics policy in 2021, I think after about a year, the staff figured out this was going to be really hard for them to sort of police their bosses. So they hired us as a third party to be like impartial. Because the complaints literally that we've dealt with in the past have all been about the elected officials on the city council. And so it's really hard for the staff to get in about that. So that's why they hired an outside attorney to advise the board and they can sort of do the administrative aspects of things. So that's my role. And the idea is once we get this new ordinance ready to approve and replace the old policy, then we would start working on an RFP to get a real ethics officer. According to the policy, there's an ethics officer. I've been doing this. But we'll see if we can get a real, I'll just keep being pretend one until we can get a real one. We'll see.
I forgot that was our objective.
I know. Well, it's something I thought I would be doing a while back, and then I was like, I've been talking to the city folks. I said, you guys, if you really want this to be an ordinance, we should change it now rather than trying to hire somebody when you don't have your final product.
Yeah.
Because then they're gonna be like, what are you hiring me to do? So
Yeah.
basically, we agreed to keep working out the kinks and this. So, Kelly, you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Kelly Sherborne. I'm an attorney. I have a law firm here in Wichita. I've been on the board. This is my second 2-year term. I think I have about a year left.
Yeah, all the terms just started April 1.
April? Okay.
I think it's or May 1, something like
Well, I have longer.
that.
That's what I got. Anything else? I mean, I don't know. I haven't been here in a while. We had a meeting. I had a baby, so the first, my first term, pregnant, all throughout it, and then I had the baby, so I haven't been here in a while. So.
Hi, I'm Christian Taylor, and I am Kelly, one of the sounds like from the very beginning. And I am currently the HR manager for the International Rescue.
I am Nikki Chamberlain. I was in the beginning class of the Civic Engagement Academy of this board. Taken most of the leadership classes over at Kansas Leadership Center. I'm currently an office manager for a planning company. And my second term, I started with a 1 year.
Good deal. Maybe because we were trying to stagger.
Maybe.
you know, go next.
I
can go last.
You're up, my friend.
Justin Henry, beginning my 14th year superintendent in Goddard. A few more years than I thought we'd be here. And when we moved to Wichita, our son was a kindergartner and our daughter was a second grader. She's now a junior in college and maybe a freshman in college. It goes quick. So you're, not 9 months old? That's quick.
Yeah.
I termed out as library board member, so I thought maybe I was done volunteering, and then this opportunity became.
Thank you for stepping forward.
Yeah, they caught me while driving last 2 weeks ago. Good news is you are replacing the library board, and we have another opportunity.
love the opportunity, right? Yeah, so I'm Constance Carrasca and I am brand new to you. And I enrolled to do the Civic Academy this fall. Very excited about that. I'm an absolute Wichita enthusiast. I think there's nothing greater. I'm co-founder of Retreats of Joy, and I teach mindfulness meditation classes in corporate and healthcare. And I'm so happy to be with you this evening.
Thank you. That's awesome. We might have to go.
Yeah.
These meetings are over. Now, sir, you wouldn't happen to be Dennis Clary, are you? You're not. Okay. You don't need to introduce yourself. If you're a member of the public, this is the Ethics Advisory Board.
Okay, that's correct. Yeah, I'm Cliff Bain. I teach civics over at East High School as part of junior school, so.
Great. Well, welcome. Well, I was told that Dennis might be able to make it, and he's the person who's going to fill, I think, seat 1, District 1. And they're supposed to appoint him on Tuesday if all goes well. Next time we meet, he'll join us. So we're close to a full board. So jumping in, we do have minutes to approve real quick, and then we'll recess to an executive session. It's going to be a hard meeting for guests because we have a new case, we need to go to executive session to hear all the facts and like that. And so, and then we'll come back and talk policy just a little bit before we adjourn tonight. And I did want to check with everybody. At this point, everybody can make it to the July 11th meeting, right? No. Okay.
Yeah.
So July 11th is a Thursday. Yes. And it's just 2 weeks away, isn't it? Yeah, it's 2 weeks.
I was thinking, can't do Wednesday, but
What'd you just say?
I said I can't do Wednesday, but I can do
Thursday's okay. Okay.
We don't know if neither of us can do.
Well, if Dennis gets appointed, we would have 4, but yes, you're right, it's getting very tight at that point. Okay, let's look at calendars. 18th. He's been suggesting.
and it would just go along.
Yeah. With the holiday, it's quick turn, I'm sure, but.
Yes.
Is the 18th work for everybody?
I'm out, okay, go ahead.
Really?
I'm not the whole week.
The whole week? And your kids are.
Yeah, they'll be actually through that. Yeah.
Okay. We.
Does that work for yours, please?
Yes. If both dates work for you two, we put the 18th on your house calendar, but I was just gonna say,
Yeah, I don't care if you guys do it the week before, Dennis.
it depends on, you guys, Dennis. Because if he can't make it either day, or if he can make it one day, but we'll plan on the 18th and see if he can do it, and not him, Justin, or the other one.
Are we getting Justin Henry coming?
Clarity,
Oh, okay.
is that his name? Yeah,
It's just
but Justin Henry is here.
Okay,
He was appointed yesterday,
okay.
and Constance, I know,
Dennis Cleary.
you might have been. But he appointed a couple weeks ago. And so
Okay,
Dennis Clary's next.
okay, I wasn't sure we were getting another person.
I'm sorry.
No,
I said
no.
it wrong there. Okay. And so did everybody look at the minutes, and did anybody have any questions or concerns or corrections to the minutes from the March meeting? Okay. Motion by Kelly, you need a second?
A second.
And Vicky seconded. And all those in favor say aye. Aye. 5-0. And thank you for that. And Prisha, if you want to make a motion for the executive session, we'll go there next.
I move that the advisory board recess into executive session for 45 minutes to receive information and legal advice on the ethics complaint pursuant to PSA 754319B2. For legal consultation with ethics advisory board's legal counsel, which would review the privilege in the attorney-client relationship for legal advice. The executive session is required to protect the attorney-client privilege and the public interest. The executive session on the matter will begin at 6:15, and will end at 7. And then the ethics advisory board meeting will resume here in the Wichita A meeting room.
And a second. I second, thank you. And that was in favor.
Aye.
5-0, we will go to executive session.
show that no binding action was taken in executive session.
Thank you very much, and it's 75. The last, the fourth thing on the agenda is, the document you all have in front of you. That's a draft. Okay, so this document you have in front of you, I just want to give you an update, and for the new people would know that we have a policy now, and the policy, the ethics policy is on the website, so everybody can see that. But we were asked a while back by the council to change it into an ordinance. So instead of just a council policy, which can be changed at any time by vote of the city council, if it's an ordinance, it takes a little bit more to change it and update it. So we started the process, and this is version 11. So I wanted you to know we've been working on this for a little while, but I think it's at the point where I'm going to start briefing the council. So, and because mostly I think I'm going to try to do one-on-one briefings before I go to the actual council meeting, mostly because there's like 3 new ones. And so they don't have any experience with the old policy or why we're changing it to an ordinance or anything. So just so the actual agenda item doesn't take forever for me to do. So what I did was highlighted and put in blue and red ink and some comments, which are the substance. Mostly it's procedural of what we're changing, just technical changes to put it into an ordinance. But as we were working on that, we also decided, you know what, it's time for some substantive changes. So on page 3 in yellow is the definition of gift. The definition of gift in the current policy is like defined over here as a definition, but then further defined in the substance of the policy, which was problematic. Define it all in one page on the same page in a short way. So we really shortened that down. And on the next page 4, there's a comment there. So one of the things we're doing is the ordinance is we're eliminating a super old ordinance passed in like 1980, I think, on an ethics. So it's like a couple paragraphs that exist, but then a couple years ago, the council created this whole new policy. So right now you have a policy that says one thing and a very short ordinance that says other things. So what this page does with these changes, it tries to incorporate some of the salient points of the old ordinance into this. And that is giving some specific examples on things instead of keeping it so broad that it's hard to interpret. Just as an example, use H as an example at the bottom. Work in full cooperation with other officials and employees is already in the policy, but as they carry out the lawful discharge of their duties, and that was something we thought about based on a case last year. It's like, do you work with employees or if they're lawfully carrying out their duties, right? And unless prohibited by law or recognized confidentiality material, that's all in the current. And then we added refrain from requesting correction of any municipal code violation beyond the proper process, including but not limited to the fixing of traffic tickets. So the fixing of traffic tickets was put in this old ordinance. It's on the books now. And we kind of debated, well, do we need to put that in the next version going forward? And we landed on the idea, it's okay. It's already in the ordinance. Be very specific. Some people don't know what you mean until you give an example. And when someone asks them, hey, this officer did this wrong and I demand that you fix it and that kind of thing, it's like they can point to this and say, no, I can't get involved in that. Whereas if you didn't put the example of fixing traffic tickets, you would just have that risk that someone would say, what does that mean? Refrain from requesting correction of any municipal code violation. They don't, what does that even mean, right? So we left a few things in there just to make sure the old ordinance, that we respected the content of what was in the old ordinance, but try to incorporate it in this. The worst thing right now about having this short old ordinance and this big long new policy, you all are only in charge of enforcing the big new policy from 2021, now amended in 2023 and about to be amended again. Whereas this old ordinance has no way of enforcing it. So if somebody had a problem with what a city council member did and they looked at the ordinance right now and for the last 3 years, they could quote that ordinance, but you couldn't do anything about it. We wouldn't even probably bring it to you because we'd say, well, they're alleging violation of an ordinance that you're not in charge of enforcing. So that's what we're trying to do here is get away from having one page in the books that nobody can enforce and put what's relevant in this document. So it's all one enforcement procedure. And I just want to tell you about page 7, because I want to see, I don't remember if we talked about this at the March meeting or not. I think we did. On page 7, this ethics board in yellow would change the name of this group from ethics advisory board. When they set it up, it was advisory. A lot of the boards are advisory. We talked about that.
Yeah.
And I think we just had the experience of these several cases from last year that we realized, no, the procedure's pretty laid out. You know, here's what we look at and we make a ruling and then they have a chance to appeal and we're done. People can't appeal your ruling to the city council or to anybody else. And there is no administrative procedure beyond this. And the board doesn't really have a role other than adjudicating these cases. So this would recognize just to call it an ethics board and take the word advisory to help the public understand this isn't something that you can go appeal to the city council and they're going to overturn it. They set up the board to make the decisions because they don't want to have to make those decisions about each other. Keeps the politics out of it. And as some of you learned recently on page 8, the one thing in yellow that's substantive change is asking the council to consider the background check being done prior to council approval of the appointment rather than after. And they do those after for most city boards. But we said the other city boards don't have this as a requirement to be on the board. This board is really quite different from a city advisory. So you can take these if you want them, or you can leave them with me if you don't want them. I just wanted you all to see how it was all shaping up. Yeah, page 12 is another one. I don't really think we talked about this last time, but it came up in staff work since our March meeting. And that is that on the payment of the fines, some of you will recall the current policy says if you don't pay the fine, if there's a fine issue, which you haven't done one of these yet, but if there's a fine required to be paid within 60 days, if they don't pay it, currently it says they shall be issued a public censure. It doesn't say who would issue this public censure. And we felt like it was pretty important to say that one, the ethics board shall review any extenuating circumstances that they can't pay. That way it doesn't require you to issue a public censure like it currently does, but it gives you authority to say, well, are there any extenuating circumstances? And then it also says very clearly whose job it is to issue the public censure. Because I know I'd had that question before. If a public censure is supposed to be done, is that the city council doing that or who does that? And I think the thought going forward is if the city council wanted to do that, they wouldn't set up this board.
Yeah.
So let the board do it. So there you have it. If you have any questions that come up, let me know. Otherwise, like I said, I'm going to start briefing council members and then get the schedule for a meeting. And then if the city council either edits it or passes it, then we'll let you all know how that goes. But until they pass something, we'll continue to operate under the current policy. Anything else? I'd say we are adjourned then.
Next meeting is there
Thank you all very much.
at this location.
Yeah, yes,
Same time.
yes.
Okay.
We're still at 6 p.m. and right now we're on July 18th instead of the 11th, but we'll have to verify that. And it is 7:14 for you.
Thank you.